fly in the ointment lately. In 2010, in December, the Southern Poverty Law Center that I mentioned earlier issued a report calling these groups calling these groups on their lies and labeling them as hate groups. And I think these are rightly labeled groups. Let me list the groups here: Abiding Truth Ministries, American Family Association, Americans for the Truth About Homosexuality, American Vision, the Chalcedon Foundation, Christian Anti-Defamation Commission, Concerned Women for America, Coral Ridge Ministries, Dove World Outreach Center, Faithful World Baptist Church, Family Research Council, formerly the Focus on the Family, Family Research Institute, what I mentioned, Heterosexuals Organized for Moral Environment.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Should be HOMO instead, right? Illinois Family Institute, the Liberty Council, Mass Resistance, National Organization for Marriage, Traditional Values Coalition. So,
you know who's not on that list?
Who's
the Westboro Baptist Church, because it's so obvious they're anti-gay. Nobody has to tell
anybody. I think they were on an earlier list, but these are sort of mainline Christian groups that have been out there for a long time. These are powerful groups, most of them, or many of them are. At least as far as the influence, as far as thinking in Christianity. And
it's worth mentioning real quick, apologize for interrupting, but since I've mentioned Westboro Baptist Church and the Phelps family a couple times, I've been trading emails back and forth with Nate Phelps, who is the estranged atheist member of the family, and he's already agreed, and we're looking for a day to schedule him to be on Nonprofits. So if you're not listening to Nonprofits and that kind of conversation interests you, kind of stay tuned, because it's probably going to happen pretty quick.
Okay, well, so somebody escaped that sort of thing.
Yep.
So in response to this, Southern Poverty Law Center declaring these groups as hate groups, so there's been a lot of uproar, a lot of smoke and consternation, and there was even a public statement by a bunch of conservative politicians decrying it on December 15th. This is not too long ago. So far, none of them have addressed the assertions of propaganda and the lies that these groups are making. So it's all just these groups are good groups, instead of saying, oh, we defend these statements which are false, or we have better evidence for these statements. So the lies have not been addressed. So remember, Christianity needs these lies, because promoting these folks know they need lies to promote their crappy agenda. And this reminds me a lot of a Jefferson quote that I'm going to read here. Millions of innocent men, women, and children, Thomas Jefferson, our former president, since the indoctrination of Christianity have been burnt, tortured, fined, and imprisoned. What has been the effect of this coercion? To make one half of the world fools and the other half hypocrites. So what you see here is there's two groups, right? There's the people being lied to, the fools that don't know any better, and hopefully people are watching this and learning a little bit. And then there's the hypocrites, the people promoting this stuff that, I believe these folks know they're lying. So anyway, so lies and hypocrites. So just to kind of do the last little spiel here is we have a lot of ironies in this. First off, there's the claim that, especially in this gay stuff, that pedophilia is a bad thing, and that these groups are against the exploitation of children, but in reality, these people are exploiting children. They're using children as tools to achieve their political goals. They are for the harassment of young gays, and they have spoken out, and whenever they've been slapped down in that, they're crying persecution. They are for the entrapment of young people in teen pregnancies, and they're for the creation of poverty. I think a lot of these people, a lot of these young people following this path are getting pregnant because they lack the sexual education. They don't know what to do. They're getting pregnant, and they're trapped into a life of poverty, trying to be responsible and raise kids. So, by the way, religious belief is correlated with sexually transmitted diseases in developed countries, infant mortality, teen suicide, teen pregnancy, and abortion. So religious belief is not a solution to these things, okay? And religious-based policies contribute to these problems. So this whole idea of child exploitation and protecting children is a complete lie. The next thing is, in these websites, there is no mention of an international organization that has actually enabled and hidden thousands of pedophiles and shuffled them around and prevented them from seeing law, the legal ramifications of what they've done. And there's no mention of this group at all and how awful this group, and this group is the Catholic Church. And you'll find that they just love the Catholic Church. They don't have a problem at all with the pedophilia of the Catholic Church. So what's going on here is if you vilify a gay man for being a pedophile, then you can make money off that. But if you vilify the Catholic Church, you don't make money. You actually turn off the idiot audience who would buy this. And the last thing these Christian groups want is to have people think, right?
Yep.
They don't want to have anybody wake up and say, oh, well, look at the hypocrisy here. Of why aren't you saying anything about, why aren't you speaking out about the Catholics doing this, the Vatican and all that? Anyway, so that's another big lie. A third lie is the Bible is not pro-family. These guys supposedly believe in the Bible and they want to follow the Bible. Well, God's most common interaction is with families is killing them. And if you want to go try to add up the number of killings in the Bible, or the number of people who were part of families, it's a very large number. God tries to get Abraham to kill his son. That's a lot of family values there. And the idea behind that moral lesson is to sell out your family to please God. Men in the Bible have multiple wives who they own and concubines and all this, and that's hunky-dory. This whole idea of one man, one woman is not present in the Bible. It's
a relatively modern invention.
It's a relatively modern invention, and the whole idea of a woman not being property is a relatively modern thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of
having
disappointed
property
about
of her
that.
own.
But,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So women are regarded as war spoils. You should go out and conquer and get the virgins, that sort of thing. Children are property and can be exploited, killed, sold as slaves, or if you're, the just and righteous Lot in Genesis, you can go out and have sex with your children and make children with them. Okay, well, that's the Old Testament. How about the New Testament? Jesus says to leave your family and follow him in multiple places. And Paul, who was a big promoter of Christianity and one of the big people against homosexuality, was also against marriage and against having the births of children, because he thought that the second coming was coming immediately and that having...
This is a distraction from working for God. Yeah.
Right. So all of this is pretty silly. Let's see. So most of the platform has, of these Christian values folks or family values folks have little biblical support for what they're saying. But, and the Bible, certainly says not to lie, but they don't care about that.
The thing that they do have biblical support for is their anti-gay message.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to go into Leviticus, right? If you want to cherry pick stuff, right? If you want to go into Leviticus and say, oh, we're going to ignore the shellfish thing, and we're going to ignore the wearing multiple types of clothing thing, which are also abominations, and just cherry pick, yeah, you can pull out that.
Yeah, but there's New Testament support against
and this is
homosexuality
Paul
as well. Yeah.
This is all Paul.
Yeah,
right?
it's just, but it's the one aspect of their message that they can actually point to and say, yeah, here it is. I mean, it's clear.
Yeah.
But
there's biblical support for slavery, and there's biblical support for genocide, and there's all. so
the types of things that the Bible support really doesn't line up with family values a lot. There probably are some things that are.
So it's like I've called it a Rorschach test for the morally challenged. You can go find whatever you want in the Bible and spin it however you want, and it's just a game. So just to wrap up, family values, it seems, judging by their behavior is really about controlling other people's reproduction, making money through lies and propaganda, promotion of ignorance, and not taking responsibility for their actions. And the majority of Christians support these things, at least tacitly, by not stopping them or stepping up to say that this is wrong. So as far as family values go, as far as the Christian family values go, no thanks. My family values are much better. So that's what I wanted to say for today.
Amen.
We got a lot of calls.
We do, and many of them are actually on topic. As a reminder, we got about 30 minutes or so left in the show. We're going to try to get the calls, assuming all the phones, everything are working as well as they did last week. We're going to try and get through these a little quicker than some other days, but I don't want to cut anybody short. So we'll go ahead and get to it. And after the show's over, as a reminder, we're going to El Arroyo for dinner. We'll be done at 5:30, and we'll be down there around 6 or so. We've got Jason in British Columbia. How are you?
Very well, Matt. How are you?
Fine. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. I'll try to keep it short. I know you guys have a short program. Quick story about Christian family values in my family. I come from a family that's a strong Catholic family, and we were embroiled in one of those church scandals with the pedophilia priests.
Right.
So multiple family members within the family, victims, as well as many in the community.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, it was a horrible thing, and it was brave of them to come forward, and the guy did have justice, man's justice upon him, so that was good. But interesting twist is when you have that religion and that faith so entrenched in the community, it did some interesting things. Over the years, we had many conversations with the family and myself, and finally it got to a point where I, as an atheist, finally spoke up and said, it's good that we're talking about this and angry, but I'm angry on a whole bunch of different levels. I'm angry that, the family community has such a narrow focus of rage for this one particular issue, whereas the church continues policies such as, AIDS in Africa is bad, but condoms are worse.
Right.
Where's the rage for that immorality? I'm angry that a lot of the people looked at the individual and not at the institution and the policies that bred this. I'm angry, extremely angry, that I, as an atheist, and many of the family and community support this, that the doctrine of Christianity teaches that I deserve eternal punishment for my lack of belief, whereas this priest, who as long as he asks for forgiveness, can actually get to heaven, and the family supports this view financially and all these other things. I said, this is it's so immoral and angry that I just can't accept it. And I see that as an outcome of the values that this faith, this religion teaches, and it's just a shame, I find.
Yeah.
Amen. We're with you 100%. That's I feel the same anger you do.
And at the end of the day, I look at it and I say, this is just what this does. This is what faith does to people in the family, divides the family. And it's bad enough what happened, but it's worse when you combine it with this religion and faith and what Christianity teaches. It's just a horrible thing, all in all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the grand irony is that religions often pretend. First of all, as I mentioned last week, they essentially give you a disease so that they can offer the antidote. Whether it's you're going to die someday, and we've got the cure for that, or many other things. But the other thing that it does is that it explicitly corrupts people's moral sensibilities.
Absolutely.
In every aspect, and it makes. It's such cluttered confusion. The note from when you originally called is that people in the situation that you were describing, why is it that they blame the priest instead of blaming the organization that protects and encourages these as a matter of this is their standard operating procedure.
It's modus operandi.
Yeah.
And the thing I always thought about is, you name me one other institution on this planet that if the same scandal erupted in, it would not have been crumbled, demolished.
Yeah, the Catholic Church is a criminal organization.
Absolutely.
The Catholic Church is a criminal organization that needs to be prosecuted nonstop every time we get to one of these things.
Yeah,
and it's actually starting to happen.
I remember you saying, you're born ill and commanded to be well, and that's what it teaches. Thanks but no thanks.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Jason. I appreciate the call.
All very good. Okay. Keep on the good work, guys.
Thanks.
Oh.
Oops. One last comment in there. Don, this one's for you, I think. Okay. Justin in Berkeley, how are you?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. Thanks for asking.
I just have a quick question. I hope it's not too far off topic. I've been dating my girlfriend for the past 4 years, and I'm an atheist. She's a Catholic. Religion and religious differences are not part of our relationship, not part of any sort of conversation we have daily or at all. But as we're getting more serious and we're thinking about becoming husband and wife, more of these questions are coming up, especially about the wedding. Her family is Catholic. I know that it's probably important for her to get married in a Catholic church. And, I want to be compromising. It's really not too important for me where we get married, but at the same time,